Hey everybody, it's Courtney with Firefox Studios, and tonight I'm just going to do a quick little podcast yarn review. So I wanted to go over this really pretty yarn right here that I made this shawl out of. And of course it's a shawl, but I am wearing it as a scarf. I told you I like to do that. So this particular design, of course this one is not mine. This is the Virus Meets Granny, and I will link a pattern. I believe I can find the pattern for it. I'll link that below. If I can't find that, then I will link one of the tutorials that I've seen on this particular pattern if you're interested in doing it. And the yarn that I chose to use is the Heart Unforgettable. This particular color is I believe it's called Heirloom, and it was on sale when I caught it. It was sold at Michael's, and it was on sale. This is actually a few years ago that I made this piece, and that's why I'm doing the review on this particular, using this particular design in a shawl, because I've had it for a while. So I have done all the wrong things, all the things that you are not supposed to do. So Unforgettable is 100% acrylic as far as I can recall. I don't have a ball to show you, but if I can, I will pop in a picture for those of you who do not know exactly what yarn that I'm talking about. And I will try to stick that in right about here. So, now that you've seen what yarn I'm talking about, because I'm completely out of this particular yarn, we're going to go ahead and talk about the specifics of it. So the specifics on this yarn is Heart Unforgettable, 100% acrylic, like I said. It's a size 4 yarn, but it's a roving yarn. So what roving means is it goes from, well, it's twisted in a way. It's kind of, it looks very smooth when you see it. And it's usually got a little bit of sheen to it, this particular type of yarn, this Red Heart's version of roving yarn anyway. So it being the 100% acrylic, you can machine wash it. You can, they recommend cold. You can machine dry it. You don't have to do the whole lay flat to dry, but they say dry it on low heat. And that's where people like me come in, and I did not do that. I, of course, like I said in my previous video and review, I don't really, number one, pay a whole lot of mind to the care instructions, but beyond that, I mean, just in general, I forget, you know, those sort of things, and things just tend to get thrown into the wash. They recommend a gentle cycle. Like I told you guys last time, I typically use a garment bag to wash these sorts of, you know, crochet wearables and that sort of thing in. So my delicates, you know, things that I consider to be delicate that I treat terribly. So I do usually use a garment bag, but sometimes it doesn't happen, you know, and it gets thrown in. And so far, at least with this particular piece in the Unforgettable, I haven't had any issue with that. But I am going to show, and I will probably insert some more pictures towards the end of the video in natural light that show you guys what ended up happening from me not paying attention. I don't feel like it was a bad result, but your yarn probably would look a little bit better and have a little less of the kind of, I don't know if you can see in this particular light, but there's a little bit of pilling. And I think if you look along here on the side, you can see what I'm talking about. There's just a little bit of fibers that are getting a little bit out of hand. I don't know how well that's showing up, but like I said, I'll stick in some pictures and everything to show you guys natural light. So I didn't pay attention to the instruction. It still is obviously very wearable. And I'll take it off and show you guys like what it looks like, the full piece, just in case anyone is curious. But it's still very wearable. It has, as one of my subscribers pointed out, when you're using that higher heat, I should have used low heat each and every time it's been washed. But when you're using the higher heat, you end up getting a little bit of felting, basically, is what she referred to it as. And I totally agree. That was what I was calling like a matted look. I've never done any yarn felting. Like, I know there's some adorable things that you can do with it. I've seen purses, I've seen little animals, stuffed animals, and things like that. But I've never personally done any yarn felting or done felting, whatever way it's supposed to be referred to. So I would say that overall, even though I did not really follow direction and didn't really have any thought to it, the only thing that I think that I have done that you might want to avoid if you were using this particular type of yarn, what I think I've done is I may have kind of matted out a little bit some of that sheen. So instead of it having the pretty sheen that the Red Heart Unforgettable is known for, I have probably brought that down to, muted it quite a bit by the over drying it using the high heat. Now, for me, that is not a big deal. I am not upset by it. It doesn't bother me. But I know some of you, it actually might bother you quite a bit. So that's why I'm bringing it up. That's the one thing besides, I don't know. I don't have anything to compare this to. So obviously, if you follow directions and everything, if you could share your experience down below in the comments, I would really appreciate that. And I know other subscribers would appreciate that who haven't used this yarn yet, or maybe they've just made something with it and they're really worried about how are they going to take care of it and the easiest way to do it. Obviously, I'm all about ease. So, being able to just throw it in the washer, throw it in the dryer is the way I go with everything. And I can say that if I were to get more of the Unforgettable, because it typically runs, I've seen it a little over $6 here in the U.S., like $6.19. I got mine on sale. They were clearancing this out for some reason, like these few balls that I was able to get. I used 3 balls of it because it's about 3 full balls and a little bit of a fourth. Now, it's 270 yards per ball on these, so, I used quite a bit to make this, but because of the roving, it kind of went from that size 4 down into the size 3. It was really easy to work with. I wasn't bothered by the change in the size, but I do kind of miss that pretty sheen that it had. So I'm not like upset and would not like be like, I'll never wear this again or anything. But if you notice, and like I said, I'll put in some pictures to kind of help you guys. Hello. There's less of a sheen to this. And so that's the effect, I think, that the higher heat in the dryer, regular heat is what I would have used. I don't really like change it to like a high heat setting, anything like that. It's just regular heat. Instead of going with the low heat, I think that's what happened is I've probably made it fuzz a little bit more because it's kind of felting over time. And it's not horrible. These little pieces that are sticking up, I wish I had better lighting in here so that you could actually see. But those little pieces don't really bother me. You could trim them off if it did bother you, if this happened to yours. But the sheen being gone, kind of would be nice to have that back, but that's never going to happen. So, if you are interested or have something made with the Red Heart Unforgettable, keep in mind those care instructions: cold wash, low heat. I would recommend doing low heat. You still get to throw it in the dryer, and that's the big thing. You don't have to spread it out. You don't have to really worry so much about it. You can wash it with your gentle items, any of your like undergarments and things like that. You are not going to bleach this thing. You're not going to use an iron on it. I haven't done any of those that I know of anyway. So definitely no iron, but I'm like, did I accidentally throw it in with some whites? I don't think so, but I could do that with something that I don't love as much as I love this, and I could tell you how terrible or good that went. I know other things I've bleached that are 100% acrylic, and there hasn't been a color change or anything. I don't recommend it because obviously I wouldn't want some of you to like ruin a piece that you really love, but I know that it's accidentally happened with me on some things, and I didn't see any mishap after the fact. So This, though, I could see something terrible happening just because of the type of yarn it is. It's different. It's not like your Red Heart Super Saver yarn. Like I said, it's pretty and it's twisted and it's smooth and it's, you know, it goes from the size 4, I would say, down to like a small 3 in some spots, at least in my balls that I got. So leave me a comment below. Tell me what your experience has been, and check out the pictures here at the end of the video and tell me what you think. Did I ruin it or did it turn out okay? You guys have a great night. Until next time. Bye. And here are the pictures. As promised, you can see what I did by not following directions and using low heat. I really do think the next thing that I make with Unforgettable, I will make sure that I do low heat. I'll make a mental note because it did cause a lot more felting and fuzzing to happen, as you can see here in the pictures. And while it doesn't bother me, I do like the overall smoothness. Now, Red Heart Unforgettable does have a little bit of fuzz to it naturally, but I've just increased that quite a bit, as you can tell by these pictures. Have a great one.